Welcome to American Black Journal. I'm Stephen Henderson. Today, we continue our celebration of Black History Month by honoring the accomplishments of African Americans who served in the U.S. Army Air Corps during World War II. The Tuskegee Airmen made history as the military's first black pilots. Prior to this time, an Army War College report had claimed that blacks were not smart enough to be pilots and suggested that African Americans were too cowardly to be trusted with flying planes. The Tuskegee Airmen proved them wrong. They became one of the most highly respected fighter groups in the war. The unit included not only pilots, but also African Americans who participated in the ground crews and operations support. I'm proud to welcome one of the original Tuskegee Airmen to American Black Journal, 94-year-old Frederick Henry Sr. Thanks for being here.
You're welcome.
It's good
Thanks for inviting me.
Absolutely. So I always want to ask this question when I meet one of you. Tell me what it was like to decide that you wanted to be a pilot in a time when they were saying black people could not be pilots.
Well, I wanted to prove them wrong, but I went in for pilot training, but I didn't have enough education, so I had to go into the Army Air Force, military policeman. That's where I served.
Yeah.
At Tuskegee.
At Tuskegee, and talk about the things that you did.
Well, the things I did was patrolling the airport. I mean the base and town. We had important places like the finance department, the water tower. Keeping the people in line, and that was my job.
Yeah. What was the environment like, though, there, where they were saying there was this question about whether African Americans could do this work, could be pilots in the war?
Oh, yeah, well, every day they asked me, why did you join the Air Corps? I said I joined it because they said we couldn't join it. We didn't have no Air Corps for blacks.
Right.
All the Air Corps was for white boys.
Yeah.
And they joined it to gain popularity. So we did our best to prove them wrong.
Right. Right. Some of the people you served with, of course, went on to perform unbelievable feats during this war. Talk about how that.
Yeah, well, I was with the 99th, same squadron that Coleman Young was with. But I didn't know him at that time, but I heard about him. And we had segregation on the post when I first got there, but they changed commanders, and later on they took the segregation off the post and made it free for everybody.
Right. And what was that like, that change, when they made things integrated? I would imagine that wasn't necessarily easy.
Well, when we first went to the movies, whites was always first. Blacks had to line up. The bus would go pick up the white people before they picked us up. If there's enough room, we could get on. If it wasn't, they'd leave us there.
Right.
So they changed all that. They started picking them up as they were supposed to start with in the black area and wound up in the white.
Yeah. And what were the reactions of the white soldiers when they changed this and to the idea
of
the
white soldier didn't want to accept it. They had to threaten court-martial to the white officers to obey what the black officers had to say.
Yeah, yeah. You lived a long time after the war. Talk about how you've seen things change in terms of opportunity for African Americans. Obviously, it's not the same it was when you signed up for the war.
No, you were safe as long as you stayed on the post, but when you left the post, you took your heart in your hand. They almost had a riot in Tuskegee, so they said no black military policemen could carry guns in the town of Tuskegee.
Wow.
But we didn't carry them. We carried them on a Jeep. We didn't have them on us, but we knew where they were.
Right.
We wasn't too far away from them.
Yeah. Did you feel like you were in danger in the town there?
Yeah, oh yeah.
Yeah. Talk about what Tuskegee, the town, was like back then.
Well, the town was segregated just like it was here. Detroit was segregated too.
Uh-huh.
I knew what segregation was before I even got there.
Right. I think a lot of people forget that Detroit was segregated, even though it was in the
really
north.
segregated. Only thing here, we didn't have to ride in the back of buses, but we didn't have any bus drivers, no streetcar drivers, nobody on the council, nobody to represent us in the downtown until Coleman Young took over.
Right. Talk about when you came back from the war, came back to Detroit. Did you feel different? Did you feel as though there was going to be more opportunity because of what you did?
No, I didn't. I felt the same as it was when I left. It's the same thing when I got back here. The war didn't change anything. Civil rights changed our position in this country.
Yeah. Talk about that time, though, between the end of the war and when the civil rights movement started to really get momentum. What was life like in Detroit for African Americans who had gone and served in the war?
Well, they had a big thing about giving us our bonus for World War II. We finally got that. But nobody recognized people in the service but the families. If if we had death, nobody paid any attention but the families.
Yeah, there were big parades for the soldiers coming back. Were the African American soldiers part of that?
Most of them had a tune of white people.
Yeah,
we were just in the parade just for color.
Yeah, right, for color. Yeah. So talk about what your memory is of the civil rights movement here and the impact it had here in Detroit.
Well, before I left, you couldn't eat in the White Tower. AAA wouldn't sell you any insurance. Most of your health insurance had to be industrial. You couldn't get that $1 million policy that they got available.
Right.
But all that changed during the civil rights. I did a lot of things in the South that nobody did anything because I was a male.
Oh, really?
Yeah, because I drank out of white fountains. I sit in front of streetcars, not intentionally, but I wasn't used to it.
Right.
Because that's my first time south.
Yeah.
And people tell me, you're not supposed to be sitting there. You're not supposed to drink out of that fountain. I said, well, I did, and it's over with. So.
Right. What are you going to do about it?
Right.
I would imagine that you meet young people today, young African-American people who want to do things, and the possibilities for them are so much more wide open.
Well, they think it's been this way all the time.
Right. I think
I have to keep impressing on them that these things were fought for, people died for, to vote, stuff like that.
Yeah.
But they don't seem to pay attention to that.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, especially voting. I mean, I think it's hard for people to understand that
people don't vote today.
Right. Right. And there were people of your generation who sacrificed a lot to make sure that black people could vote. Do you come across young people who want to be pilots very often?
Not too often. Our aim is to educate young people about aviation. We have the second Sunday during the summer months. We have flying at City Airport.
Right. We had a show there a couple of months ago.
Yeah.
And that's really incredible.
And but black kids are afraid of flying.
You find that now?
Right.
What?
Yeah, I don't know. They seem to think that it's a dangerous thing to fly a plane, and they want to keep their feet on the ground.
Well, I mean, you're proof. You and your generation are proof that it's dangerous, but it's also rewarding.
Right. The same as if you're flying anywhere else. You could fly for yourself.
Right, right.
But they don't look at it that way. The same as you don't find too many black people in the hockey
Same thing, right?
You know,
right.
we don't like cold weather. They don't like heights.
They don't like heights. So how do you convince kids to overcome that? What do you say to them when they say they're afraid of it?
I tell them, take a plane ride, experience it.
Yeah.
See what you think of it. A lot of them take the plane ride and say, I didn't know it was that easy.
Right. Yeah. It's not that easy, and it's that much fun.
So they can. It's a opportunity for people to get ahead in the world, and pays good.
Yeah. Yeah. The pay is really
yeah.
good.
If you fly for the airlines,
Mm-hmm.
and even private pilots get paid good money.
Yeah. Okay. Well, thank you very much for being here, and it's always great to talk to someone who did the things that you did back in the day.
All right, and thank you for having me.
Absolutely.